Hey everybody, like my mind is going like this. Like I'm so excited, like I'm elated, I'm energized because I am now with another woman that is part of like history making. So let's start out by just let me clear the air before anybody says anything. She is not my state rep, but she is my state rep. I have two, just in case you don't know. One is LaShawn Ford. So shout out to LaShawn Ford.
Shout out to
Yeah,
my brother LaShawn
yeah. Shout
Ford.
out. I mean, he's the best. But together they're like a dynamic duo. And during this Women's History Month, I could not sit at this stand without talking to Camille Lilly.
Oh, thank
And I
you.
mean that.
Oh, thank you, Principal Anderson. That you have warmed my heart and you have blessed my soul.
Well, you stole my heart. I'm trying to think because when I first met you, I was like, "You guys sure she's not mine?" I kept saying, "But wait, why don't I have two?" You know, and the same thing happened with Kimberly Lightford. I love her. And then Don
Yes,
Harmon comes along, and I was like, "Wait, I got two?" And so I keep telling people that I'm the principal that's at a school that's blessed with two of everything.
you are. You are.
Because I just take everybody and say they're mine.
Well, you have, meaning Michelle Clark and the resident. It is the largest community area in the city of Chicago that has some of the most vulnerable
Yeah,
populations and people.
absolutely.
And so you get to shape the minds of people who are have struggles.
Yes.
And so that's why we thought in the state of Illinois you should have more than one.
Oh, and I
So
take
you
'em.
have two of everything.
I do. I have two aldermans. You know, Emma Mintz is
Yes.
my baby mama. Can I say that on the air this year?
No,
Because
you
I don't want
cannot.
anybody
No,
saying
you
that, wait, I
cannot.
thought it was mine.
Well,
And then I have Chris Talaferro. So,
yes,
yeah, I
you
have
have
both. I have the two of everything. But today, I have you here with me.
Oh my
And
goodness.
you know what makes me so excited? Because you have been around, and of course I know because you started at like 5 years old. So you've been around for a while, and you know like things that have changed over the years. And when I talk about things that have changed, just even like women's rights, you know, being a woman in you know on the in with the Congress and seeing all of the, you know, all that is different now. And I know it just didn't happen overnight. So when I look at like you, Kimberly Lightford, Emma, I see trailblazing women.
Most
And
definitely.
so what do you think of all that? Talk to me about like how things have changed in the time that you've been in.
I like the word trailblazer
Yeah.
because I'm actually riding the backs of many other black women
Yeah.
who are doing public service. And you've named two so far. Senator Kimberly Lightford, Alderman Emma Mintz, Commissioner Erling
Oh,
Collins,
you know I was gonna say her
Congress,
name. Yeah.
Senator Kara Mosley Braun, Commissioner Barbara McGowan.
Yes.
All
I
of
love
these
Barbara
women
McGowan.
are really the foundation
Yeah.
to change in the black community. Each and every one of them, along with Mayor Lightfoot,
Yes.
each and every one of them came with a vision that turned status quo on its
Yes.
head.
Yeah.
And I get to walk in that space, build on those accomplishments, and celebrate quality of life in the black community.
Yes.
So I'm blessed in that regard. And what I bring to that space is some of my interests, which is just health.
Yes.
I believe if you don't have your health, you don't have much else. I say more today, if you don't have your mental health, it's very
Absolutely.
difficult for you to
Absolutely.
maintain your overall health. And the other space that I enjoy, I'm like, let's say, wallowing in is the arts.
Yes.
And so when you said podcast, I'm like, oh, okay, I can be in front of the camera. I'm more like behind the camera. I call myself the executive producer
Yeah.
of a lot of stuff. But it brings the talents and the essence of who we are as people in
Yes.
society forward through the arts. And I know Michelle Clark does that every year. I'm always feeling the gifts of so many of his students
Yeah.
in so many areas here in the community, here in high school. So I commend Michelle Clark and
Oh,
you
thank you.
for allowing your students to stretch themselves.
Yeah, I'm so excited. One of our girls will be. She has been doing some art, and they had a contest, and so she's going to the Goodman Theater.
Wow.
Right? That's what I said. I can't wait.
Oh my God.
Because
She's
I'm
gonna be on
going.
the stage.
Yes,
She's
she's
part
gonna be
of
on the stage and stuff. I'm going to clown. Right?
I think
Yeah.
that's
So
awesome.
we have a lot that's going on with, and we just got the field that's been working on the two marquees, but even with all of that, we still feel like sometimes that we make steps, but not always maybe the big steps we should be making. I think I struggle with that sometimes. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I feel like even you guys in offices that you help us, you get it. And I know money becomes a constraint. I know some of the laws become a constraint. I know all those, but how does that feel like, or how do you deal with when it feels like we take one step, but it really felt like it was a quarter of a step?
Well, I move by faith,
Mm-hmm.
and everything that's supposed to happen happens. And it creates the patience, it creates other opportunities when
Yeah.
things don't come right away. So when we are moving
Mm-hmm.
and we're moving together, that's something to celebrate. So when you are accomplishing, we only got one block done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That means, oh, I got two more blocks to do.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that gets
I
you
never
up the
thought about
next
it
day.
like that.
Gets you
Yeah.
up the next day and moves you forward. And because I'm a woman of faith, I know it's going to happen
Mm-hmm.
in God's time. But most, I'm going to call it people who are of the world, they want it now.
Yeah.
You
Well, we're
you
microwave
want it now.
society now, right?
Right.
Everything is a microwave. I don't know if
Exactly.
anybody turns on their stove anymore,
Right.
except
Right.
like our grandmothers and the people who really, really cook.
Yeah.
I go to the store and I say, oh, it says microwave. Okay, good. I can do that because I can eat that in 3 minutes.
Right. I'm not going to say I don't cook on the podcast, but I will say that we have microwaved ourselves
Mm-hmm.
into lack of patience, lack of
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
But what's good about that is that it puts us in front of each other more often.
Absolutely.
To get better understanding,
Mm-hmm.
to get more opportunity. So I'm leaving it. Now I'm tired at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Well, I think we all are sometimes.
I am tired, but
But
am
it's a good
excited.
tired, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a
Yeah.
good tired, and I'm excited that look what we did.
Mm-hmm.
We're working now just real quickly on getting rid of in the state of Illinois pre-authorizations. And basically what that is in healthcare
Yeah.
is that you and your doctor talk about, once a diagnosis is made about whatever's going on with you, you make a decision on how you're going to care for that condition.
Yeah.
Well, the insurance company stops you and your doctor from moving forward because they want to authorize it first. And it takes too much time for that to happen, and sometimes they even deny you.
Wow.
Which means your health outcomes are impacted. And so I want to commend Governor Pritzker for jumping into this space to make sure every Illinoisan
Yeah.
who goes to the doctor and have a relationship with their health providers can move forward on their health care. So
Yeah, so when you talk about that, you bring me to, I don't know where we were, but we were at a meeting and they started talking about how the life cycle changes if you go down 290. So as you leave from downtown, coming all the way to Laramie to Austin Central, the life expectancy goes down. And so I know that you've been doing a lot of work with the Loretta Hospital.
yes.
Tell us about that.
I have, believe it or not, I have been there over 30 years.
Really?
Over 30 years. That's what I say. I said, what? Has it been 30 years?
Yeah. That's when you know you love it, when you have to ask yourself.
I know.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. So, I'm one of those persons who went away to school, got that academics under my belt, and came back to the community
Yeah.
that put so much into
And
me.
we've got to get more to do that.
Yes. So that's where my blessing came when I came back and I could work in the community that raised me. But Loretto, I came to Loretto 30 years ago around public health and health education and prevention and promotion within the community. Actually, I'm still doing that today with a little bit of development and strategic planning. And I have said when the city of Chicago stopped providing treatment, and that was like over 20 plus years ago, that it was going to cause a problem in life expectancy.
Yeah.
All those services that many of your mom and my mom and our aunts and uncles were needing, they were not getting those services because those service access portals were removed from the city of Chicago. So that's why the zip codes in the city of Chicago are impacted tremendously.
Yeah.
And at Loretto, we are in the community with health education. We're in the community
You guys
with
are
health
everywhere.
promotion.
When there's an opening, you guys are there. I love it.
And Janice Henry is our community health nurse.
Shout out to Janice. I
Yes,
love her.
Janice Henry. There's not any hospital in the city of Chicago that still has a community health department. They got rid of them. The other thing that Loretto has that no other hospital in the entire country have is a community committee.
Yes.
And that community committee has the opportunity to work with the hospital to create ideas around health education, health promotion, health socialization, health awareness, around issues from behavioral health to prostate cancer, to mammograms, breast cancer, to maternal child health, where they have a budget to implement the ideas of community outreach, community wellness, and community network and connection. And there's no other community hospital or no other hospital in this time where that has a community committee.
And you know, when you said that, I was sitting here thinking, because we did a men's health day. I think you remember it. And so we had all the men. We had men coming, but we had also, I pushed all of our men that were here in the school to get involved. And I could not believe how many did not have a doctor and did not go to the hospital, didn't know their blood pressure was high or low or whatever, you know. And, you know, now I'm like, I just got to keep going, because if it's the men that are dying because we're not taking care of ourselves, what do we leave for women? And we can't always think that we are invincible, like, you know, we can't have it. So when you were talking about that became like, we got to do it. And I remember the first time I did the colon, well, I've only done it once, but the colonoscopy, I had never been in the hospital before. So I was like, oh Lord, what's about to happen? I came back and every guy that works here that was at a certain age, I was like, have you had yours yet? Have you had yours yet? And they were all like, no. And I was like, oh my God, go, if for nothing else, to get a good sleep.
Yeah. Yes, you don't even know you sleep.
All I remember is going in, and I remember waking up at home going, what did we do today? It was the best twilight sleep I had. So I'm like, when is the next one I can get one so I can get some good
Every
sleep?
10 years, if you have a good, clean report from your...
Right,
from
and that was the
screen.
problem. I was like, sir, I can't come back, you know. I wanted to go back like the next day. I was like, this was some good sleep.
Well, I'm going to mention that next time. You know, Colin, you get good sleep.
You get a good sleep. That's what I tell people.
And that's, sometimes you have to turn the myths into, you know, intrigue.
Yeah.
So,
and that's I just was pushing everybody to do it. Like I was like, you gotta go do it. You gotta do. I was like, oh, you only 20. No, you can't do it yet.
Right.
But you know, but I just think that it's important that we push our people to get to the. And so I'm so proud of that work that you do with Loretta.
Thank you.
Because if you weren't doing it, it could be an open void. You know, like sometimes I think about like you and you know all the rest that we've named, and I'm thinking if they weren't here to do that, you know, you always know somebody will come and do it. But then, you know, one of the things I like to say when people say, you know, oh, if you weren't here, Michelle Clark, da-da-da, and I always go, somebody else would have came and did it. Then I always leave them with the tag like, but they wouldn't have did as good as I do, you know. So when I think about this, like the work that you're doing, you know, somebody else could pick it up, you know, but they wouldn't do it as fantastic as you do it.
I'm going to co-sign that.
As you should.
Yes. This is Women History Month.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't I put my history on the map?
Absolutely.
But there is some truth to legacy.
Mm-hmm.
People coming after you.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping and praying that the steps that myself and others have made, that there's some younger women walking right behind us.
Yeah.
And into those steps and taking up that mantle.
Do you think that's intentional that you have to do that? Or do you think that you have to, like for us as principals, they always say you should have a succession plan. So you kind of say, okay, yeah, he could take this. He could take. Do you think you have to look for somebody, or do you think they just kind of like, oh my God, she could do this?
It's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Me, for example, when I became a state rep,
Mm-hmm.
I'm busy doing all the work that you're talking
Yeah.
about, just in the community, working and being a part of so many great things that someone was watching what I was doing, and then came and plucked me and say, we would like you to represent us in Springfield in the 78th district. And I'm like, what? Why? You know?
Yeah.
And here it is, 14 years later, I have been doing that public service because someone plucked me. So I think it's both.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are watching what these, younger people are doing and saying, this would be a great opportunity or great fit. And then there are some innate purposes that people just fall into place. And both of those, whether it's woman or man, are the blessing of talent, commitment, joy, because in your community. So I think I get excited when I see young people like this young man here. I keep looking at this young man here. He's going to be
he's
the
our
next
tech guy,
right? But he's going to
and he always stays behind the camera and he makes sure he produces all of
and I feel like I want to talk to him because he's over there. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? So I'm always looking over here. I'm like, and you know what I'm talking about. But the young people. Seeing them in those roles that I wouldn't even traditionally see them because I would never known how to do a podcast.
Right.
I think that's exciting.
And so, we had a teacher during Black History Month. We let staff come in and the title was, talk about your blackness. And so they got a chance to just talk about just growing up, being black and everything like that. It's a great series. So you guys got to catch that. But one of the teachers that was in here said, most of the time people think that when Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all of those people were doing that work that they were old already. She said they were young. She said, and that the older people are the ones who are like helping guide, but it's the young people with the energy that's taken forth. And when she said it, it hit me and I was like, I guess we always think that like Dr. King was old, and because we always see the portrayal and it looks like, I don't know, I just always thought they were old too. So when she said that, it hit me really well because I was like that. And she went on to say though that like the students here and the students at other schools are the ones who should be leading the charge, And so talk to me about like the women that because you inspire a lot of people more than you probably know. So how does that go with like the things that you do?
I too agree that anything that's ever happened in America was at the impetus of a young person. Yeah. And a young mind who just saw things differently. And so I applaud those young, courageous minds that stepped into that space. And it has changed America. It's changed really, lives. And today, I get excited when I talk to young people and I say, oh, let me tell you what you're going to do. Yeah.
Because they don't always know, right?
They don't. And they look at me like, she's too excited about it, Yeah. I can't live up to that. Oh, yes, you can because you're going to do it your way. But one of the things that you're talking about blackness, I'm very black today. I'm very black. I'm not African American. I'm black because my journey is about Black America and my history of my family. And when we got here, and I'm yet ever so proud, we came off the the ships that brought us over here against our will, they forced us to learn their language and made us lose our language. And we did it.
Yeah.
They created policies that kept us in place where they were most comfortable. And we've broken through those things. And when I'm saying they, I'm saying America.
Right.
I am proud to be Black to have done these things. And then to be asked on today to sit at a podcast to talk about, my accomplishment as a woman, let alone a Black woman.
Yeah.
So I think that is success in our community. And the things that I really believe we need to work on even more and more every day is the quality of life of Black people in America.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
It is so important when you do that, whether you're young or old, it sustains the dignity of your essence. And that's what we need to be doing. And I didn't just come up with that. I've seen people fight for that before me.
Right.
My father, my mother, my pastor, the public officials, Harold Washington, fought for me to have dignity in America. So I get excited about it. And then when you see...
Because I'm where I am because of them. Yeah.
But we have to stay focused. And be willing to be okay in our Blackness.
Yeah.
You Black. Your journey is like no one. I'm not to disrespect any other person's journey. Celebrate it.
But right now we're talking about ours, right?
We're talking about ours. Yeah. And so that is, you have to be willing to step in that space and say, hey, well, this is what happened to my family when they moved from or traveled from the South to the North.
Yeah.
And these are the challenges that they went through. They lived in apartments. My mother tells the story all the time. They live in apartments where they had shared bathroom with other people who lived in the apartment. Apartment building. I'm like, wow. I have a problem with my sister. I'm like, what? And you don't know the people? So that's a journey, but they went through that.
And they went through it. What's important is they went through it saying, better. It's going to get better, right? And so I think that as we're going through things, and like, it probably goes back to me saying, like, you want to have taken one step and it's really only been like a quarter of a step. You step back and still say, better. Like, I'm going to keep doing this because better. Better's coming. I got to hold on to this because better. When you have a tragedy or, the loss of someone, better. Like, what did I get from them to make me better?
Amen.
And so that's what I hear when I hear you talking, like, just better.
It's, when you wake up, better.
It's another chance,
yes,
too.
Better.
Yeah.
And so... I have nephews, godchildren, nieces.
I'm sure everybody has a topic too.
And that I'm just so proud of.
Yeah.
Who have started their journey in America and being proud of who they are, not stepping out of that, stepping into it. And I think that's what women can instill into the future, which is the babies that they born. And women are I'm going to say we're pretty awesome.
I wouldn't be doing this podcast if y'all weren't. I always think about this one of the pastors said when he put Adam to sleep and he made woman, he said when Adam woke up, he was like, whoa, man, like, this is amazing. And so when I think about women history, we don't have a man history, do we? No, we don't have a men's history month.
We can do it though. We can make a man.
That way I can get LaShawn Ford here. I can get all my brothers here. I'll get the mayor here, LaShawn Ford, Chris Taylor Farrell. We'll pull them all in. And we'll do a roundtable discussion. But I think it's so important that you guys are celebrated. I don't know that we celebrate each other enough, let alone just even... when we think about even Black history, 28 days, 29 if we got a leap year, and sometimes we'll celebrate something and then we forget about it until it comes again. And people do that even with like your birthday and, so your birthday comes and everybody goes and be really nice to you, right? And then after that, you got to wait a year for them to be nice to you again?
Well, we have to change that.
Exactly.
And so status quo must go.
Right.
Celebrating who you are and what you bring and what you've been given every day is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I really believe that celebratory or celebration will bring more kindness, will bring more life
Absolutely.
to an everyday walk that we have so many opportunities to touch someone else. And that touch, is the light,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just blessed, to have been asked to come here.
Oh my God, it was my honor.
and
I was like, oh,
talk
please say
about-
yes. Please say yes.
Yeah, it was a podcast, and of course I thought, I can just be on the phone. I'm on this little microphone, just talking. This whole camera thing is another thing, but it is really important to tell your story and to tell our story, and you tell your story. Don't think someone can tell your story better than you.
They can't.
They cannot. But your story needs to be told.
Yeah.
And it needs to be repeated, and it needs to be celebrated.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm busy doing, and why I came. I said yes, because I'm ready to tell my story. Yeah. I'm a Black female in America who has been blessed to do the work she's been able to do for people for over decades. For over decades.
But so let me ask you this last question, and we could kind of, because we were talking. Let me just say, we were having conversation before this thing started, and I was like, we've been all here all this time. So, but let me ask you, like, as a public servant, I guess we're all public servants, right?
Yes.
But as a public servant, you're called to it. Let's just call it what it is. You're called to be a public servant, because no one will just say, I want to be a public servant, because you never can make everybody happy. And you're constantly trying to make change, right? So nobody's like, please pick me to be a servant. Does it ever end, though?
Oh, being a public servant? Does the public ever go away?
Yes, that's what I'm wanting to hear from you.
So, everywhere I go, I get to meet, share, listen to different people every day. I call the space that I'm in World University. I'm at World University.
Yeah.
And when I'm on the floor of the House of Representatives here in the state of Illinois, I guess my exams come when I hit that button on my desk and voting for legislation that's going to impact the lives of Illinois immediately.
Many.
I'm just like, man, this is going to change a life. This is going to impact a community. And I'm saying, yes, these are all green. These are all green buttons.
Yeah.
This is going to be something I can go home and talk about. So in World University, which is every day, you're learning, you're growing, you are sharing, and you're listening. And it is indeed a blessing.
Because to experience it, like if I could tell you all day that we need right? But if you don't experience it, you might not be able to really follow where I am with that. And I think that's one of the things that I honor you on, is that you're here. Like, it's not one of those things that I've been like, anybody know who Camille Lilly is? What does she do here? Is you're like right here, and that makes a huge difference.
It does, especially, what I get excited about, and this is where people are paved the way after me. As the founder, one of the founders, of the Austin Chamber of Commerce, where the Chamber instituted in Austin the only parade in a Black community in November, where we celebrated our businesses, we celebrated the community. During the holiday, we lit our own tree, we lit up the
we're always
street lights, and that was over 20 plus years ago that we started that, and it's still going.
Yeah, I think
today.
We've done it the last 7 years.
Yes. Yeah. And it's growing in all different shapes with the new executive director and the new board. I get excited when I attend every year.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is that trailblazing.
This was my little baby, and look at it.
Look at it. Yeah, I just get so excited. So those are the things that each and every one of us, this podcast is going to probably be somebody's talk show someday. And you're
You
going to
not
be on
get a chance
TV.
to retire and get another talk show?
Yes. So it starts
Because they
somewhere.
haven't given very, very many men the talk show. I mean, if you think about it, when you think about, you had Montel, right? And you had the Jerry,
Yeah.
But we haven't had like men on talk shows that lead them, where it's like serious conversations and
Well, I think you guys should start. You should produce. You should host, and we should
Don't
listen.
say that, because then I'll be like, Michelle Clark, I gotta go.
No, because you're gonna do it your way.
Yeah.
So Michelle Clark gonna be all in it.
Yeah,
So I'm just.
I
Gonna
couldn't do it without them.
Yes,
I couldn't do it without them.
But let me leave you with this, because I want people to know this. I have a motto. We all probably have mottos.
Yeah.
But I want to share my motto.
Please.
Yes, the motto of life. My motto is, people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. And many people know that song from Barbara Streisand.
Wait. Did you know that song? I knew he didn't.
I know. He's probably said, that's pretty corny.
Right.
No,
he was trying to see like who rapped that song.
Yeah, right. Look it up. Look it up. But the point I'm making, or that motto, allows me to work alongside people like you, Principal Anderson. What's my young man? The who?
Mr. Turner.
Mr. Turner. Look alongside you towards success. And most people think they get to success by themselves. Not none of us.
No. And we all bring a piece to it.
That's it. So people
we
who
bring
need people are the luckiest people in the world.
You got to look that song up. I want you to look it up, because you're going to have to be able to.
Yeah, I don't sing. I don't sing at all. But I do read lyrics and apply it where it is necessary.
So here's my last question for you. Like, I'm so honored, first of all, that you're here. So I always tell people, because, sometimes people say, well, what would you be doing if you weren't a principal? Because principal wasn't on my top list. Let me just be very honest. It wasn't. Do you want to know what was on my top list? I probably can't tell you, because but I don't. On my top list, my dream list was to be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson. I mean, I practiced. Yeah, that was if I had been a backup dancer for Janet Jackson, I would have arrived. I've been done.
Oh, my goodness.
Yet I became a principal, right?
Well, you can still be a backup dancer
for
Janet
somebody.
Jackson. Yeah, because Janet is moving slower these days. You still look good, Janice. So any one of us can get behind her and do some stuff.
Now,
right.
Before,
so
I probably
it's all timing. It's all time. Well, I think you should go for it. I don't know how much money. I don't know if you impact as many lives that you impact here at. Yes, look at God. God knows what you need to do.
Yeah, he knew I was probably not going to be able to keep up with those steps.
Oh, well, yeah. But
so if you were not in public service,
well, it's similar to yours. I actually, two things. I wanted to be a dancer, modern dance. I use this tight for good.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I did basketball and track, and I knew one day I wouldn't be fast or be able to jump. So dance. I wanted to dance, and I wanted to do my own performance at the Oscars.
Oh.
Yes, so I don't have to be. I mean, with everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't have to be by myself. If I did it by myself, when I messed up, no one would know.
Right.
But I could take a crowd to do a performance. But then I said, you know what? I want to produce the Oscars.
Yeah.
And so it would be off the chain if I, executive producer Camille.
Didn't we just have a black male, I think?
He did a wonderful job. It was kind of, got thrown off a little bit, but he was the first.
Yeah.
He was the first. So I could be the first woman.
Yeah.
And I don't know where this podcast
I mean, like,
is
where
going.
where do we put your name in at?
Well, the Guild, they do performing, how they do the
Yeah,
Oscars.
yeah.
You vote for all of the actors to win their Oscars. So we take this podcast, put it out there, and
And
have
I
people
could be
vote
like
on
one
it.
of the backup dancers, and that would be like me
Oh
living
my
out my
God.
part. Oh my
Some of the
God.
young minds and some of the young talents here, Michelle Clark, I will bring them to California to perform
Yeah.
on the stages. Why, of all of these celebrities,
Yes.
to we can highlight
Yeah.
what's here on the west side
And we
of
have
Chicago,
and we have
Illinois.
fantastic, amazing
I
people,
know.
things going on the west side of Chicago.
Yes, fantastic. I think we have leaned into our hope,
Mm-hmm.
and because we've always had the vision, but we've leaned into hope and have just stepped into doing it
Yeah.
with very little. I was just talking to someone earlier today. We are doing things around prevention and promotion with shoestrings,
Yeah.
and have enjoyed doing it.
Yeah. And I will say this is that growing up, I remember I was valedictorian in my high school at Weston House back
I
in the
knew
day,
it.
right? But wait, so I had never gotten anything less than an A. And so when I went to Bradley, they want us to do public speaking, and I hate public speaking. Let me just be I do not like talking. I know no one believes that. But I got a D because I was about to fail, right? And I was like, oh my God, what do you do with a D? I like freaked out, right? And my roommate was like, this is obviously the difference in us, that when you get a D and you become successful, another D never hurts you. And so I was like, huh. So he was like, so this is your first D. Get ready for a few more, but they won't hurt as much.
The second one. Now, that's a way of looking. He must have been getting a couple D's along the way.
Well, he said because he's had them before, it didn't shock him like I was in shock.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I can't even tell my parents. They don't even understand what a D is.
Now, I was getting excited when I got A's. I got an A.
Yeah.
I was like, I broke the curve. I was like, oh my God, that was me. So, and when the next one came, we was few in between, but I got them, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I could do that. I did that. But it's true that you're not good at everything.
Yeah.
And you learn, and the things that you want to be good at, what do? You practice.
And what I learned from
train.
that, though, is you had a bad day. That's your D. That's okay. You'll learn how to move past those bad days. You'll get another D. Don't worry about it. And so one of the things that, if I had to leave anything with on this podcast is every day is just another day that you can do better. And if you don't, and I said this before, and I say this to the students, we only win or learn. We never fail.
Amen.
We win or learn. So if we didn't win this one, we learn
words.
what we got to do to be better on the next one.
Such powerful words. Powerful words. That's just the truth. And, I've learned in these senior years, or fourth quarter, third quarter, I'm in one of these quarters, one day at a time does not hurt nobody. So I'm taking one day at a time to win or learn.
Mm-hmm. Win or learn, because you never lose. You just, if you don't learn from something, you only lose if you didn't learn anything from it. And there's always something that you can learn in anything that you do.
Most definitely.
Like when you leave, I'm going to go to Turner because I'm going to say, what did you learn? Because he's been doing these with me because you're our third, right? And he has been patiently watching. So I've done some podcasts with him where he doesn't pay attention.
Oh.
Because he's bored from it.
Mr. Turner.
Well, I think he's just like, they're just talking. It's not interesting. Oh. But when he's sitting looking up and been watching you the whole time, you've captured his attention.
Oh, is that true? Oh, look at this. Well, thank you, Lord. I have to give it to you. I was all like excited to come as he sent me this meme with that actor. And then I was trying to find how to get one of those things back. I can only give you a smiley face. I'm like, I don't know where you get this thing from. But so that made me excited to come and, have this experience. And I want to say thank you for asking me, and all the other women that and are making a difference here in Chicago and in the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
I thank you for taking a moment to recognize. Today is the actual Women's Day.
And you're here.
I know. I didn't know. I mean, I didn't. The day changes, but I'm like, it's Women's Day, and so Cynthia Williams is having a Women's Day celebration from 1 to 8 p.m. I'm like, after I leave here, I'm going to celebrate being a woman on the west side of Chicago. And she's been around for many years addressing the teen and mom situation here, providing WIC services and food and Pampers. So she's going to bring all of that. That's, in many cases, most women are experiencing that.
Yeah.
Just giving birth. So we all should go home and hug on somebody that look like me, meaning a woman, and say, I love you.
Yes. I love that. I don't even have anything. Bye, y'all. I don't have nothing else to say. I mean, like, that's so true.
You win.
Yeah. And what was the guy, oh my God, he married Gladys Knight.
Les Brown.
Les Brown. And he would say, this is Les Brown, maybe Brown's little baby boy. Signing off. I'm telling you, I used to watch everything. You don't know that one either, do you? Oh my God, we gotta help this young man.
Oh my goodness. Well, what can you tell me that I should know, Mr. Turner? I can't walk out of here without knowing what Mr. Turner wants me to know. Am I right?
You're right.
Got me on the spot.
I do. You guys put me on the spot for the past.
We did.
Yes. Okay, Mr.
Well, that
Turner
means
said-
you're going to have to give it to me, and I'm going to text it to her. We're going to mail it to her or something.
Right, because I want to know
now it's your
something.
homework.
Yes, I want to know
But I will
something.
say that he's extraordinary. Producer, he's a photographer.
Wow.
He's our tech guy, so he does all the technology in the building. And you have your bachelor's. You went to IIT? DeVry.
Okay, wonderful.
And you know I like to have young people around me because they keep me thinking.
I know. What was your degree in?
Computer science.
Yes. Okay.
And so sometimes I call him and I'll be like, hey, I was just thinking if my computer could do this. And he'd be like, he'd say, move over.
Oh, it can do it. Oh my!
Yeah.
Everything he's mentioned, you made it happen.
Yeah.
Man, remember? You don't remember this. Remember when we had the COBOL computer system, and you had to learn the actual language?
Yeah.
You know. Okay. Now we just got to touch the screen.
Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
what? This is not even English.
It's the same
So
with
it's
the cars now.
evolved.
I just got a new car, and
What kind of car?
I was like a Toyota 4Runner because I'm going to go camping, like outside camping. I know it's crazy, but I want to do it. And then I'll probably return the car because I'll be like, I don't want to do that no more. But
well, camping is great. Camping is great in good weather.
yeah, so I was like, when they gave me the keys, I was like, where's the remote start? They was like, oh, it's on your phone. And I was like, what? So everything is like now, you know.
Yeah, it's they get to this. What's the thing?
The
called?
fob.
The fob. I'm like,
Those are so
first
expensive.
of all,
Don't
why
lose
is it?
yours.
Yeah, why is it called a fob? What is a fob?
Now that I don't know.
That's something because I'm like, why do they call this a fob? So I had to get used to it. I left my car running about 4 times because of this fob thing. I didn't even. I went into a meeting. 3
I've done
hours
that twice,
later,
too.
and my car is running.
Yeah, I left mine on Roosevelt, and I went into Frank's and tried on clothes that they did the hemming and everything. And when I came out, I was like, this car is running. Whose car is that? And I got in. It was mine. I was like, why did you turn off the car? Because I didn't hear it because of the music. And I don't know, my mind. So keep your mind right.
It does. And so you're growing and learning every day how to drive your car, how to turn your TV on. Everything, I think, is changing quite fast.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to say it's keeping me young. What you think?
I agree with you.
Yeah. It's keeping me up to date. Okay. He's not going to
He
say
gonna
I'm
say
young.
young.
Those were my words.
Right.
Those were my
Well,
words.
he didn't give you the words.
Right. That's all right. But I agree. It keeps me up to date, and so I can have the conversations that I need to have with good people like yourself. I too want to say thank you for having me on today.
so excited,
we can
Kate.
talk. I don't even get to talk to you because I'm so
Yeah.
my schedule's so
No, I know.
crazy. But to
It's funny because
stop
every
and
now and
chat.
then I would send you like, "Hey, love you, loving you," and you know, you'd
You're
be
like,
like, "Get out of here, I love you." Like we just send
oh,
like
at the
random
right
chats.
at the
Yeah,
right times
yeah.
that happens. I'm like, God knew, and He has an angel in Principal Anderson.
Oh.
Thank you. And a lot of serious moments are occurring these days. As I was saying to you, not from a political thing, but our president was really in tune with what he wanted to share on last night. And so every moment of the day, something is happening.
We just have to stay in tune to it.
Exactly. Something is
So that we don't, and I always say, so that every moment there's an opportunity for us to lose it, and an opportunity for us to hold it together. And sometimes we lose it, and when we come back, we're like, oh, okay. Because I always say it's a thin line between sane and insanity, right?
That's the truth.
And some people, when they go over to the insanity side, sometimes things that they do when they come back to sane, they're like, I don't know why I did that, and we just have to keep our minds.
And that's why community hospitals like Loretto Hospital
Absolutely.
are so important. There was a time when I first got to Springfield, they were trying to close hospitals
I
in
remember that
neighborhoods
too, yeah.
that would take people 25 miles away from access to the services that they were needing. And they may not make it, let alone
Yeah.
having
And I'm
a
glad
health-
we're talking now about mental health more and more because
Yes.
we used to, as I remember, as like black families, you would kind of be like, oh, that's Uncle Joe, leave him alone. We leave Uncle Joe in that room, or things like that. And really, it was mental things. Or as church people, we would say, oh, just pray because he got those demons in him, and the real thing was we just never wanted to deal with that. People were having mental issues.
Nor have access to address those mental issues, let alone identify that they were mental issues. Today is different. Today, people are advocating for these resources and these services so that they can have wellness and quality of life. And that should be something every person should obtain. And so I'm excited to be a part of a lot of all these rights.
Yeah.
On so many levels.
Oh, I'm sorry. He said wrap it up. We got to go. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Camille, Lilly.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Turner. See you next time.